And this is the Freedom Club podcast. I am your host, Kurt Mercadante. I am so happy you are here. Yes, if you are listening to this podcast, you probably don't realize that at the point I'm taping it, I'm actually doing it as my first ever LinkedIn Live. I just finally got access today. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, head over there right now, take a look. For those of you watching live, welcome to my very first LinkedIn Live. So today I want to talk about a topic that I just addressed in the Freedom Club Accelerator with my clients and the members of the Freedom Club Accelerator, and that is first principles thinking. There's two types of reasoning. There's reasoning by analogy, and there's first principles reasoning. Reasoning by analogy is taking two separate things or events, and because you know something about A, you apply it to B. So the example I give is stars are very hot. The sun is a star. Therefore, we know the sun is very hot. Now, in that case, we know that to be true. Reasoning by analogy works. But let's take another example. So maybe you saw a study, right? That 400 people who eat red meat frequently had heart attacks. I eat red meat. Therefore, I'm more likely to have a heart attack. Now, that's reasoning by analogy. And as I share that example, you may think, well, that's not true. We can blow holes in that, etc. However, every time a study like that comes out, it's like the most shared story on Facebook for the next 48 hours, right? That's reasoning by analogy. First principle reasoning takes what you think might be a truth, and you admit to yourself that let's start it off not thinking it's a truth. Let's start thinking out that it is an assumption, okay? So people who eat more red meat are more likely to have heart attacks. Instead of accepting that as a truth, let's accept that as an assumption, and let's start peeling it back. Now, why do you think that? Well, I saw it shared 5 times on Facebook. Okay, is that a reason really to believe it and accept it as a truth? Let's peel it back more. Where did you read about it? Well, it was in a magazine I trust. Okay, is that a reason to accept it as a truth? No. Let's keep reverse engineering it from there. Well, it was a study by scientists. Okay, who funded the study? Now, that's not necessarily a reason to accept it as a truth or not a truth, but you keep working it back. What types of people were studied? Did they also smoke? Did they exercise? Did they eat a lot of grains? Did they drink a lot of soda? Were they couch potatoes all the time, right? First principles reasoning, instead of just taking the assumption at face value, peels back the onion. You reverse engineer it to uncover evidence and truth. So the first thing you do is you define your assumptions, and you define them as assumptions instead of fact. Then you check the premises of those assumptions. Then you keep reverse engineering to walk it back to find what is true and evidence. Now, personally, I think a lot of the ugly partisanship in America and throughout the world, if people applied first principles reasoning to policy, to debates, to have more thoughtful debate where things were questioned and you didn't accept something as truth simply because of identity politics or a partisan label, and we actually used this type of questioning, maybe we would have less ugly partisanship. But you know what? As I train people around the world, people have assumptions about their own lives that they accept as truth. And they have these assumptions maybe because of what they've been taught, what they've been told since they were young. Now, what are some of these assumptions? Well, I'd start my own business, but I'm not qualified to do so. One that I hear a lot from people is, I'm not worthy to start my own business. Well, I don't have a certification, so I can't be a coach. I can't be this or that. I'm out of shape because I can't find time to exercise. Now, are those assumptions or are those facts? Well, you start rolling it back. Let's take the exercise question, right? I don't have enough time to exercise. That's why I'm out of shape. Well, the first question is exercise the only part of the equation in terms of you getting in shape? Well, you walk that back. Well, it's actually 80% of your body composition is determined by what you eat. So I can influence 80% of my body composition by what I eat and not exercise. Okay, keep walking it back. I don't have time to exercise. Well, is the assumption that you have to work out an hour or 2 each day? Or could you take 3 days a week and do some high intensity interval training? Oh, okay, and you keep walking it back. Well, am I really busy? Am I really focusing on key outcomes in my day? Or am I like a typical entrepreneur who fits 3 hours of work into a 12 or 14 hour day? So you keep walking it back by asking simple questions about assumptions that perhaps you previously held as truth, as dogma. And by asking those simple questions, you uncover what is really true. And it's very empowering, right? I'm not worthy for more in my life. I'm not worthy to start my own business. Well, is that fact or is that an assumption? Why do you believe that? My friends, Elon Musk recently shared an example of how he uses first principles thinking. By the way, Aristotle used first principles thinking, but Elon Musk shared a story. When he was first building rocket ships, people said, well, it's too expensive to build the rocket. It's $65 million. And they held that as truth. They held that as dogma. And he said, well, what's a rocket made of? He looked at the titanium, the carbon fiber, all the different bits and pieces that a rocket is made of. And he said, well, how much does that cost? Does each of those pieces cost? Long story short, he went and found out how to buy each of the pieces of the rocket and hire people to put it together. And he said it was like 2% of the cost of what people saying it would cost. You see, if he had held those assumptions as truth, he may not have been able to build his company. So we all have these assumptions that we hold as dogma. And if we started questioning them, getting down to the first principles, reverse engineering it and building it from there, we might be in less of a prison of our assumptions that we've held for a long time, dogma that was taught to us by perhaps our parents, our teachers, our bosses, whatever it is. Start reasoning by analogy less. Start reasoning by first principles more. It's extremely powerful. And it is a way to empower yourself to get past those assumptions that may be holding you back like a prison and meet the challenges that you face. This has been the Freedom Club Podcast. I'm your host, Kurt Mercadante. And now, for everyone watching live on LinkedIn, let me know if you have any questions. Who all is out there right now? There's 42 of you watching live. Sorry, I don't know what was with the camera at first. Let's see. Hey, Michael. What's up, Michael? Jordan, Brian Schulman. You and I have not talked in like a year, man. What's up, Jordan? Same with you. Hey, Danielle. David, thanks for stopping by, man. Yeah, and David, you'll see the first principles reasoning video in the Freedom Club. And by the way, if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about when I say the Freedom Club Accelerator, it is a year-long mastermind of superheroes around the globe like David Peter. Now, some of them are in corporate jobs or looking to get out. Some people are in the Freedom Club because they are looking to 10x their companies. Some people are not looking to leave their companies, but they're looking to build freedom and fulfillment in their lives within their existing career. Like I said, it's a year-long mastermind. It's not just coaching and training from me. The real power of the Freedom Club Accelerator is people helping people networking, people connecting, people holding each other accountable, motivating, providing inspiration to one another. So if you're interested in the Freedom Club Accelerator, go to kurtmercadante.com/accelerators. If you just go to my website, kurtmercadante.com, you'll see the link at the top. Adrian, I think your question about should first principles reasoning be used to confront, convince, or change someone's mind, I think right there is it, do you have to confront someone about it? And I think that is part of the issue today. Everyone wants to win the argument rather than approach it from, let's learn about this together. Let's walk it back and peel the onion. Right? Just because I have strongly held opinions doesn't mean I have to convert you to my side. Now, if you're in business and you want to get someone onto your side, let's not talk in terms of confront or convince. Let's talk about collaborate. How can we collaborate better? Let's both look at this together. But let's look at it. I'm not going into this to change someone's mind. Let's look at this together, see where we agree. Let's walk it backwards. And by asking these questions together, by participating in this process together, perhaps we'll arrive at the same conclusions. Again, my name's Kurt Mercadante. This is the Freedom Club Podcast. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.